The revenue results are very good. As we know, their biggest customers spent a lot on CapEx in the fourth quarter and are going to continue to spend. So we had the upside on revenue and in terms of guidance for the April quarter. But the gross margins were lower, and it's what Caroline was pointing to. When you have a product transition every year and you're ramping up production of a new product, it comes in at lower gross margins. Yeah. And that's still happening to them. So they guided to gross margins below expectations for next quarter, indicating they are still getting lower margins on that Blackwell product line. So we had the least anticipated result for this earning, which is the stock could be flat tomorrow, not up 10%, not down 10%.
Yeah, and the stock has been oscillating between gains and losses. And Gil, I just want to bring to you another headline here. The company breaking out sales for those Blackwell chips, saying it accounted for about $11 billion of its revenue in the most recent quarter. Of course, again, we're talking about $40 billion in revenue total, so a bit more here than a quarter of total revenue. Nvidia also saying, Gil, that this is the fastest product ramp up in the company's history. Talk to me about that $11 billion revenue number for the Blackwell architecture. Are you happy enough with that?
Well, that's a little better than they guided to last quarter, but it does indicate then the sales of the rest of their products declined quarter over quarter. None of that matters. Their customers are going to buy whatever Nvidia is selling. Their customers right now have more demand than Nvidia can supply, and it's going to take at least a couple of more quarters for that to catch up. That's why we still are going to have a $4 billion incremental growth into the April quarter from this quarter, because they still haven't caught up to demand. It does look like Microsoft and Amazon on their earnings call talked about catching up in terms of the supply of chips that they're ordering by the middle of the year. So it's more the back half of the year that we're going to have to see if demand materializes. And it's very important that you made the connection to Salesforce. If companies like Salesforce don't see an acceleration of revenue based on AI, then it's going to be very hard to justify continuing the rate of investment in CapEx that we've seen the last couple of years.
I want to go back to that gross margin number for the first quarter, coming in lower than expected, and that idea that this is just the price of getting new products to market and they will start to widen again. Is this the air pocket that so many people were worried about?
It's not an air pocket, because it's actually the second or third quarter in a row where gross margins were the soft spot in the results. And if they're still guiding for them to decline as the new product line takes over from the previous product line, then it's more of a concern. It's less of an air pocket.
Okay. Gil, quick question here on what Jensen Huang will likely say on the earnings call. Do you expect to get any clarity on what sales to Chinese customers might look like, given that the Trump administration is thinking about beefing up the current restrictions on sales to China?
Yeah, that question will come up. It's unclear if Jensen Huang's going to answer it, but it is the huge question right now. What did he promise President Trump when he visited him at the White House? President Trump, this administration is worried about China taking the lead in AI. The only way China can take the lead in AI is if they continue to have access to Nvidia chips. What did President Trump ask Jensen Huang to do in order to prevent that from happening? And what is President Trump and this administration going to carry out in terms of regulation to prevent these chips from getting to China? Mr. Huang's going to get asked about that during the call. It's unclear what he'll be able to say.